what can it be a city, what can it be Beijing in a few years? That's something I would like to ask. In the Hutopolis, we did a full range of projects that were going from softscape to hardscape. Density as a value, it's a link to green as a value, which is a physical value, but as well green in terms of sustainability. It talks about mobility. It talks about how people use the city actually.
We are usually coming from Europe to have a long-term vision for the city. And looking to Chinese city, that is miss a bit this long-term view.
It's a formula, nobody knows how to solve it. And nobody knows how many elements put on it. Yeah, it's complex.
What's been lost in heritage buildings here since the 80s? What's left?
Yeah, I think the heritage sites in Beijing already lost very high percentage. I'm not sure how should I put it, maybe 70%. I think it's not exaggeration. Because of the political movement, because of the construction, because of people's enthusiasm to build a new country. So everything has been systematically wiped out. The war is definitely one of them, but ironically, even the Civil War, the anti-Japanese war, didn't really destroy that much. Maybe I would like to put it this way, compare Beijing as a person who got sick. Beijing has got sick for many decades.
Actually, big issue is this city actually is not built for citizens. It is built for one person, who is emperor. That's why this city is not convenient at all. This city was managed like a kind of military camp. Another identity is actually we have to isolate building, linked by the walls, because we are still building the building individually standard. So you have one tower and one bar and a tower like this. Should we keep that? That's the question. Because actually we are keeping that. So from this cell of Hutong or courtyard, we are making the much bigger courtyard of Hutong.
Maybe the question is the scale. Like they're applying a model that when you make it bigger, it's not really working.
Everyone is closed into itself.
Yeah.
So this is not an urban life. Actually, we are happy to be sitting here. But how about the city?
That is what really makes a city, when the urban fabric is something you can pass through and you can experience all this retail.
You have not many ground floor retail activities. So this is still closed residential area. Maybe you need to change something. Are we going to continue this policy to warn everybody? Or are we going to open up the city?
Because after 3 years living in the courtyard, you just want something, you just want to open the door. You just want to, because it's very interesting to have a world into the world.
I think one thing I learned from Bachelor Design Week is that you can open up so much spaces in that area. And all of a sudden that you see the creativity, you see the dynamic.
Yeah.
And if you open all these things, the city will change totally. And it will become very charming and diverse area.
Yeah.
I think the most successful projects are projects where everything is mixed together.
Because we change the type of economy from the planning economy to the market economy. I think that can change something. But again, the norm, architectural norm, building norm hasn't changed so quickly that the economy changed.
Ownership issue is perhaps a very important issue. The public state ownership can be a major obstacle, but it can also be something facilitating this kind of,
Because we have no more super powerful governments. So the people has their choice.
So that's, I think it's definitely interesting to look at how residents can improve the area as well.
Thinking, okay, this is a natural renovation process. The things that is missing is a kind of education or knowledge.
I think another challenge for China is that we have been doing things more or less following the way what we call 一刀切. So it's with one simple and very rough standard.
So what we did with Hutopolis, I mean, we're actually trying to do, we try to understand if bottom-up approaches can be the engine of revitalization of the areas.
But what policies can people do from the ground up and from the top down to make the city a greener, more livable place?
Actually, we're encouraging to densify the urban area. You can build higher and higher, and you should maximize the efficiency of the land.
So what are your suggestions to make mobility better, but better standard of life for people?
So I think a good way, but of course this implies planning, a good way for mobility is also reducing travel distances.
So maybe the answer is to is to build inwards actually, but build better and think more carefully about how you can use that space.
In the European cities, the process was like the city center where the people used to live now becomes pretty much retail, is where people used to buy, is the touristic center. I mean, what I like about Beijing is this balance, still at this moment, even going back to the mobility issue, when suddenly you're living in a huton, almost like in a village, but you have the subway.
If you walk in the huton during the summertime, you always have a small construction, and people is made their own addition or fixing the insulation of their own space, and this is a process that is happening every day,
Yeah.
every year, summertime, autumn time.
I don't think every time you need to destroy to make the transformation. I don't think you can keep everything, and the city should be regenerated in a way or in another. What is the issue and what is the future's city? That's the question that I mentioned in the beginning. No one knows. When the internet comes and when the airplane becomes the frequency of the travel and the people, so maybe we need to find new terms for urbanism, because the relationship between people become totally different. So you don't really need neighbor to do anything.
I don't fully agree that we should all go all the way back to the 1950 or 1970 way of Hutong life. That's something very difficult. But I think there's also ways that we can try to maintain a Hutong structure or Hutong spirit in a new community.
I'm not going to predict what is going to happen because there are so many surprises.